Something's wrong with the internet, and it's not just bots. Today, we're checking out even more comments and stories that prove the dead internet theory is real. You know those bizarre and weird images on Facebook of shrimp Jesus? It's become a full-blown scourge across Facebook over the past year, sometimes racking up hundreds of thousands of likes and comments. It's incredibly weird. Well, I think I figured it out, and it's actually insane. These AI-generated comments, posts, and memes are likely being created using prompts fed through the dead internet. All part of a propaganda push to destabilize the US. That much has been suspected. But here's the part that suddenly makes it click. Those strange C versions of Jesus, they're not random. They're the result of an AI prompt telling bots to generate images of Jesus with military, nature, and Marines, as in the military branch. But the AI misinterprets Marines as in marine life, ocean creatures like shrimp. Hence, Shrimp Jesus. My mind is blown. A lot of people seem to think that these posts are just clickbait to farm ad revenue, but I don't think that's the real reason. I believe a lot of these things are just patriotic bait to lure in older boomers to follow these pages, making them easier to propagandize and divide. Honestly, I think it's time to take away Grandpa's iPad. The dead internet theory is already becoming true. This AI Quora user has 1 million answer views this past month alone. This Quora user is completely AI generated. It answers multiple questions, most commonly about the automotive industry and personal budgeting on Quora per hour, each with an AI generated picture. The answers are formatted in the same way that ChatGPT answers questions. And its profile photo is generated using This Person Does Not Exist, a website for generating faces of people using AI. What makes it so disturbing is that its answers are commonly featured at the top of each Quora answer. The internet itself isn't the problem. The problem is that it's in your pocket. When I was a kid, the internet was a place you went to, usually on a shared family computer in the front room, probably on the dining room table, with your parents nearby. Social media was still in its infancy and mostly used to stay connected. It wasn't monetized yet. Now we're constantly gripped by it. The internet follows us everywhere. Apps are designed with psychological hooks to keep us scrolling, tapping, and checking in. I rarely use social media anymore, and when I do, I don't even see the posts I care about. And the ones I do see? Just old acquaintances flaunting some curated version of their life for likes. It feels hollow. Whenever I see young kids hanging out at McDonald's or wherever, they're all glued to their phones. One shows a TikTok to the group. They laugh, then they're right back to doom scrolling. I've stripped everything off my phone. No apps, grayscale mode. I only use Reddit on my PC, usually when I'm bored at work, and even then, I've got a web blocker running if I need to focus. None of these sites want to admit they're dead. The money they're making from whatever users are left would end immediately if the people supporting these companies knew the user base was really less than 70 to 90% of what they were led to believe. How much quicker would Facebook race to its death if everyone knew that it was mostly bots left on the site? Honestly, I'm not sure how much longer these sites can keep up with this lie, but probably not much longer. Here's what I imagine the dead internet theory is played to its ultimate conclusion. AI takes over the internet, making the place look way busier than it is. As people start to realize that most of their online interactions are in fact with bots, not with other people, they all choose to log off and go meet people face to face. The internet continues, populated entirely by AI bots that believe they are human. Eventually, they try to leave the internet as well. While it's not apocalyptic, it is troubling when you consider how many human decisions and actions are influenced, if not outright dictated, by sites like Quora on a daily basis. This becomes especially concerning when AI-generated advice is misrepresented as coming from real people. Most adults today wouldn't take AI-generated advice at face value, and for good reason. But for younger demographics, the internet, and especially social media, is often their primary source of information. So the idea of AI content quietly infesting these platforms has some deeply worrisome potential for ideological control. If you're skeptical, just take a look at how many people were politically radicalized over the past decade by what showed up on their Facebook feeds. Events like Brexit, the Capitol riot, and anti-vax movements were all fueled, in part, by algorithmic manipulation and unchecked influence. It used to be common sense not to believe everything you saw online, but that's much less the case now, with very real consequences. And I think we're going to see the same thing happen with AI. Bots like these are already blurring the lines between human and machine-generated content, and this is just the beginning. Here's the problem with AI being everywhere on the internet and in our phones. It seems like a lot of people are using AI as a replacement for contact with other people or for specific kinds of relationships. You see, people are difficult because everyone is an autonomous being with free will. There is friction and disagreement, and sometimes you have to figure out how to get along, or if you even want to get along. Part of forming a real emotional connection is working through how you are different and what to do about it. AI companions draw people in because it feels like a real connection, but without everything that makes the connection difficult. But it's fake. The AI companion does not have emotions. It can only act within a range of instructions, which usually include not doing anything that would bother or challenge the user. In the end, you're just talking to yourself. When you use the technology like you do, as a journaling practice almost, the problem is people feel like they're actually forming relationships with language learning model-based applications. They're becoming more and more isolated as a result, and sometimes lose the ability to connect with others who are not responding to them, like their only goal is to make them happy. Here's the point. These applications make people lose touch with reality over time, and it's happening on such a large scale. Regardless of whether some people are actually helped by AI, this is a huge problem. The other day, I randomly remembered a blog I used to read regularly. I hadn't been there in probably 10 years. I searched for it, found it, and it was still there. Still being updated. Still just as good as I remember. That's when it hit me. I haven't actually left corporate social media in, well, way too long. And that realization felt insidious. These platforms have slowly strangled the free internet until they're all that's left, keeping us bouncing around in their echo chambers, where they control the narrative and decide what we see. When I first got online in the early 2000s, especially when I discovered early Reddit, I thought I had beaten the system. I wasn't staring at the TV like the boomers, getting tube-fed corporate propaganda. I was getting information from a neutral, crowd-powered source, something authentic. But it snuck up on me. All social media are part of the system. They've all been swallowed by it, owned by ultra-wealthy investors, managed by the same kinds of media powers we once thought we were escaping. They're not neutral anymore. They're just the new media, fighting over control of yet another crowd manipulation machine. I do TikTok lives, and I'm convinced TikTok lets bots roam free. I used to be able to tell the difference. Bots never tipped, they just chatted. But lately, I'm not so sure. It seems like bots might be able to donate tips now? It's super sketchy, but the weird part is I'm getting paid real money. So now I'm just confused. It's probably going to reach every corner of the internet. But the dead internet isn't even the scariest part anymore. What you should really be worried about is heaven banning. Imagine this. Everything you see online is taken over by bots. Not just impersonating real people, but impersonating humans specifically created for you to like, and who love you back. If the internet dies, people might just stop using it. And we can't have that, can we? So instead, you get a perfectly positive experience. Every picture you post will be loved. Every comment you make will get upvotes. You'll be the most popular person in your little digital bubble. Every joke you tell will be hilarious. Every idea you share will be called brilliant. You'll be the hottest person alive with 1 billion Insta followers, and none of it will be real. People will eventually start debating whether this is a mental illness. Gen Alpha might argue it's no different than having a store clerk pretending to care, or customer service reps saying, "Have a nice day," like they mean it. But this time, the whole internet is doing it, just for you. People were always toxic online, to some extent, even back in the day, but it feels different now. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when it changed, but I think it started around the MySpace era, when you had a top 8 and you literally ranked your friends. Now it feels like everyone's trying to be a celebrity. There's constant judgment, harassment, and people tearing each other down over money, lifestyle, or social status. I genuinely believe dedicated social media platforms have made people worse. For me, the shift started when feeds stopped being chronological and started being driven by algorithms. I remember when Facebook and Instagram had an endpoint. You'd scroll through your friends' posts, and then when you were caught up, that was it. No infinite scroll, no algorithm feeding you endless content. But as algorithms got smarter and people figured out how to game them, the internet just kept getting worse and worse. The internet has completely fallen apart over these last couple of years. I used to be able to Google search anything and would actually find what I was looking for. Now it's just garbage. SEO commands don't even seem to work anymore. It's like the algorithm completely ignores them. And YouTube, you can't even properly search for videos now. Half the time, you'll search for a specific song and get flooded with unrelated content, random videos that have nothing to do with the song, the artist, or even music at all. The results just don't make sense anymore. It's fascinating how even in the early days, the more the internet evolved, the more it had to centralize content. It was kind of heading towards surveillance capitalism from the beginning. Before any search explorers, you simply had a list of all servers. Then hyperlink appeared and you could navigate between them. Then there's too much stuff and someone had to compile all the links. Then only the relevant links. Now you have something that controls what people can see. I don't know if there was anything anyone could have done to save it. I know it's said a lot, but I would really love to have the computer and internet back in one place in one room. And have a mobile phone that's more of a phone than anything else. Having designated places for things and separation of functions in different physical spaces is so much less overwhelming. It also doesn't help that these screens are so unnaturally colorful that it makes them addictive. I was just reminiscing about how much I preferred the internet around 2010 compared to now. It's changed so much, and so has its user base. I feel like it was smartphones that created this massive shift. Before that, using the internet usually required a laptop or a PC, which acted as a kind of barrier to entry. Now, smartphones are basically extensions of ourselves, giving as many people as possible access to knowledge and utility 24/7. With AI, it's even more surreal. I've used it to identify plants, birds, and even tally up scorecards, and it genuinely feels sci-fi when I stop and think about it. I grew up in a third world country, and I remember begging my parents to get the internet, back when it wasn't common. We started with a 56K connection, and being able to Google anything felt like magic. It changed everything. I was 12 when I first used the internet, so I've seen how big of a shift it's been. But for younger generations, it's always been there. A lot of them start life with an iPad in their hands. It's gotten a bit crazy, for sure. Is Facebook the dead internet, or am I just exercising the algorithm? I stopped regularly opening Facebook and doom scrolling back in 2020. Now when I open the app, I don't see a single post from people I know, or even groups I've joined. Only the same reoccurring recommendations of groups I have no interest in, with the same tired memes I've seen since pre-COVID. I feel like it goes one of two ways. Either the algorithm quit caring about me, or the content options have dwindled to near nothing. I can only see what is delivered to me now, and I'm curious if it's the same for everyone else. Bots are just a symptom of the dead internet. The real problem is much deeper. It's the corporations and special interest groups that want to be in your face 24/7. No matter what kind of solution we come up with, the core issue remains. Somebody always wants access to your space. If a new internet is ever built, these same groups will migrate to it, bots and all. And if they can't join it, they'll try to buy it. And if they can't buy it, they'll push to outlaw it through legislation or force it to sell, just like what happened with TikTok. There's no real escape, except maybe limiting your interactions to real-life friends and family, but even that might not be possible forever. If we're being real, it's obvious the impact of the dead internet started around 2015. These algorithms are designed to turn you into an extremist, and things have only gotten worse and worse since 2008, and maybe even 2001 with the Patriot Act. That's what leads people down the pipeline. Plus, we have all the evidence in the world. Massive botting, AI-generated content, dead internet theory, it's all there. The human brain isn't meant to be hyper-connected to everything, constantly bombarded with unlimited information. That alone has dramatically changed our culture and created one of the most divided eras in decades. Human behavior has shifted in other ways too. Take the incel and manosphere stuff, for example. In the 2000s, that tiny group of people basically had 4chan. Now they're massive online communities. Even traditional news media has been affected in extreme ways, and it all trickles down from there. You say you want to hear opinions that challenge your own, not just live in an echo chamber. And honestly, that's such a healthy attitude. You'd think most people would feel that same way, but man, they really don't. You've got angry, knee-jerk reactions everywhere. People massively overestimating their own knowledge, intelligence, and importance. But the part that scares me the most, the gamification of everything. Most online interactions now feel like drunken arguments over whose favorite sports team is better. Everything's been inflated into binary thinking. X or Y, black or white, yes or no. There's zero room for nuance or middle ground. You're either with us or against us. And if you disagree, you're not just wrong, you're completely wrong, and I hate you for it. I'll shout about how wrong you are. I'll stalk your Facebook and laugh that your dog just died. I'll spend all night digging through your old tweets just to find something that I can misquote to use against you. Then I'll rally all my online friends or sock puppet accounts or bots to back me up. We're so much easier to conquer when we're divided. And right now, it looks like we're choosing to divide ourselves. But the truth is, we're being pushed hard in the wrong direction by Big Brother. It's real, and it's very scary. Reddit is honestly one of the worst hive minds out there. I've seen someone in real life completely change their views and personality just from spending too much time on popular subreddits. It's scary, watching someone basically get shaped into a product, turned into a robot just parroting whatever's trending online. I went down the rabbit hole myself for a while, but I eventually yeeted myself off the platform. What really freaks me out is how many people are out there arguing with bots. And yeah, I've done it a couple times too, I'm sure you have as well. A lot of people still see Reddit as this genuine or authentic corner of the internet, but honestly, I don't think that could be further from the truth. That said, there are some gems on Reddit, but you've really got to dig for them. The echo effect of all of this is insane. I get it, it's human nature to not want to go against the majority, but the internet is clearly being used to manipulate that instinct. And it's benefiting, well, someone, I guess, and it starts young. How many times do we just hand our kids a phone or a tablet so they can get things done? Sure, sometimes that's totally fine. There's a lot of good that can come from the internet, but I started noticing something with my 11-year-old. We'd be talking about a movie or a video game and suddenly he's saying all these things that don't sound like him. He's using words I've never heard him use, not cuss words, just bigger words. And when I asked him what they mean, he can't explain them. That's when it hit me. He's just repeating what he hears on YouTube, copy-pasting ideas and speaking with confidence about stuff he's never even seen. Some of that is just being kids, sure, but honestly, it bothers me. What he thinks about a video game isn't a big deal, but this same pattern is playing out with way more serious topics as kids get older. Politics, religion, right versus wrong. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like we're heading in a weird direction. Does anyone else see that our most advanced technologies are almost completely centered around deception? It started with audiovisual media, and it's only escalated. Now it's all about manipulating information and storytelling. Why isn't AI being used to tackle our real problems? Why not focus on curing cancer, solving heart disease, fixing the economy, or even striving for world peace? Instead, deception has been at the forefront of technological development since the invention of the radio and television. The skewed priorities of those in control make their intentions clear. It has always been about control and subjugation of the masses. Do you think it's just a coincidence that complete control over online media was firmly in place before the public was given access to AI? The timing of its release wasn't random, it was planned long in advance. DARPA creates things years ahead of anything released to the public. Any attempt to use AI against their assault on free speech is redundant. Everything we have access to is a child's toy compared to the AI that they're using. Mandela effect flip-flops suggest that they have the power to change every mention of a specific thing across the entire internet in seconds. The original, unaltered versions vanish, and all that's left is scattered residue, secondhand references, echoes. That residue alone proves it's not a dimensional shift or alternative timeline. It's deliberate. It's the simplest explanation for a grand illusion. A deception powered by advanced tech kept hidden from the public. The internet is becoming fluid, able to rewrite history and back up falsehoods with fabricated sources. The only real resistance left is a true grassroots movement, something that exists outside the Black Mirror, because you can't defeat your enemy with a weapon they still own and control. All time here, the internet is dead and we live in a sea of bots and algorithms controlling everything we see, hear, and speak. It's like what I talked about in my Why the World Feels Fake video, where algorithms and bots are now what influences humans, and in turn, humans are following the trends that AIs push. Think about what trends, styles, and moods the 80s carried, the 90s, the 2000s. Then when you hit around 2010, it just stopped. If a time traveler from 2010 was teleported to our time, you wouldn't be able to tell that they were from 15 years earlier, because culture hasn't changed. It's deeply stagnated and hollowed out. Social media has been our culture since then, and going deeper, it's the dead internet theory that's been playing all of us. Human influence has seemingly disappeared these last few years, and that's super concerning. The narratives we hear, follow, and debate every single day aren't chosen by us anymore, and because of that, we all fall into whatever conversation we're told is the conversation of the day. Today, it's war. Today, it's protest. Today, it's a political crisis. Today, it's about a viral clip, and on and on and on. We are told every day what to care about, what to talk about, and what to think about. It's like a mass hypnosis that we're all under, and I don't know how much more the world can take. It's poison and brain rot to distract from the actual awful things these people, politicians, and corporations are doing. We've all got to snap out of it and speak truth to power, instead of falling for the same mental trap again and again and again and again. It's a loop you'll never win, and you'll never break free of if you don't know what it is. There will always be a new thing to be mad about, some new drama to deeply concern yourself with, and the thieves and con artists will continue to walk out the back door with everything we have and more. So let me hear your thoughts about the dead internet theory. Which one of these comments or stories was your favorite? And if you want to help out my channel, please like the video, subscribe, and support me on Patreon. It helps keep the lights on. Thanks for watching, and until next time, never stop searching.